Hi, my name is Adam Whitmer. I'm the founder and host here at ComplianceCohort.com. This compliance clip is going to answer the question, what is redlining? Redlining is one of the hottest topics within the world of fair lending right now, and it's part of regulatory compliance. So as far as regulatory compliance goes, fair lending is one of the hottest topics, and in that, redlining seems to be one of the key focuses that regulators have been focusing on over the last several years, and really the better part of the last decade. In fact, they seem to keep evolving over time and upping their expectations as it relates to redlining. In the past, redlining was generally worried about for mainly mid-size and larger banks that were in more urban areas. However, it is my belief that smaller financial institutions, even some of the smallest financial institutions, really should be worrying about redlining and taking a look at redlining risk to make sure that your financial institution does not have issues that could be brought up as a concern by a regulator in an exam. So redlining is a really big deal. And the interesting thing about redlining is it actually originated back from the regulators. And that's a whole different story for another time. But let's talk about the definition of redlining. This is a good summary. Redlining is an illegal practice in which lenders avoid providing services to individuals living in communities of color because of the race or national origin of the people who live in those communities. Now, that's one definition that the CFPB kind of came out with. I think you could argue that redlining is really a number of things, and it originated by drawing a line about an area and saying, I don't want to lend in this area. And when that area has a large amount of protected class members, that becomes a problem. So in today's day and age, lenders cannot choose an area not to lend in. They need to be lending in all areas of their community and of their assessment area to meet the needs of the community. So that's really what redlining is. Now, as far as what the regulators are concerned about, there are a lot of different examples of allegations of discrimination that the regulators bring up when they publicly cite violations of fair lending laws. Now, those allegations include a pretty large number of things, but I grabbed a couple from a recent Fair Lending Hot Topics program that I recorded, and I put those here on the slide so we can understand some examples of redlining allegations. Redlining allegations include things like avoiding locating branches in majority Black or Hispanic communities. If your financial institution is adding branches and those branches are not in majority minority areas, so that's a key term in fair lending is majority minority, and the majority minority means that the majority of people living in this area, the census tract, is minority individuals. So if you are avoiding locating branches in majority minority communities, but you're putting branches in majority communities, you could have a potential redlining problem. Also, if you're avoiding assigning loan officers to majority minority neighborhoods and communities and branches that are located in those communities, that could be a problem for you as well, because that's a common allegation of discrimination that we have seen over the last few years. Also, your financial institution should be monitoring your fair lending compliance, doing a regular review, doing some analyses to make sure that you do not have issues as it relates to fair lending. And finally, you need to make sure that your financial institution is not discouraging applicants or prospective applicants in majority minority neighborhoods. That's a big deal. Now, the regulators have gone a little bit further and they have said a couple of things. They've told us what they're looking for. Now, this is a really big topic, and I have a fair lending boot camp in my store where I spend a total of, I think it's 6 full recorded hours. So it's really a 7-hour program when you have breaks, and it could take an 8-hour day to watch it. But we go over this in a lot more detail in the fair lending boot camp. But the regulators are looking for a couple of things. And again, this slide is taken from the Fair Lending Hot Topics program that I recently recorded. And what they say, the Department of Justice actually came out recently and said that they're generally going to focus on a few key areas when they're looking to see if a lender has redlined a specific area. They're going to look at things like the financial institution, in this case a bank's CRA assessment area. Where is the lender trying to serve? And if they're trying to serve this area, they're going to be analyzing that. They're also going to look at statistical analyses for disparities compared to similar banks. That's a key right there, is comparing your lending to that of your peers. That's a real key on what the regulators are looking at, something you should proactively be looking at as well. Also, the regulators are looking at branch locations, whether they're majority areas or majority minority areas, and the placement of mortgage loan originators like we just saw. And the regulators are looking at your marketing and advertising to make sure that you're not saying things or doing things that would discourage applicants. In fact, a few years ago, we saw a radio show that was also re-released each day as a podcast from a lender in Chicago that was making fun of certain areas that happened to be majority minority areas. And the regulators came back and said that they were discouraging applicants from applying, and that was a major issue, and they ended up with some big fines and penalties. So this is what the regulators are looking for when it comes to redlining. And that's really all I have for you for this compliance clip. Now, if you're interested in understanding redlining and fair lending more, we have a fair lending boot camp in our store. If you're interested in understanding what hot topics the regulators are looking at, which I fully believe it's redlining, and I spent a lot of time on redlining in our current Fair Lending Hot Topics class in our store as well. So you could take a look at either a Fair Lending Bootcamp, Fair Lending Hot Topics. We even have a Fair Lending for Lenders and a Fair Lending for Board of Directors if you want more information on fair lending, and that's at compliancecohort.com/store. But wait, there's more. If you're new to the compliance cohort, you don't have to purchase our programs. We offer a bunch of resources absolutely for free. And this video is one of those free videos. We have a bunch of compliance clips that are included with our basic membership. It's a free membership that includes videos just like this, short 3 to 5 minute videos. It also includes a regular weekly newsletter. It includes articles. We do giveaways. We have a bunch of resources, special alerts, things like that available for free in our basic membership at compliancecohort.com. So be sure to check that out. Now, if you're an existing member, thanks for sticking around to the end. We appreciate you. You're the reason what we do. And I'm not going to end this by saying I hope you have a compliance-filled day, because sometimes when I record this, my son is actually sitting in the chair across from there watching me do this, and he's 17 and a half at the time of this recording, and he says, "Dad, wishing somebody a compliance-filled day is kind of like wishing them cancer." He's not wrong. So I hope you have a fun day. Whether it's in compliance or whether it's outside of compliance, I hope you have a fun day. So until next time, hope you have a fun day. Thanks so much.